Hey, good afternoon. Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
No, just seeing. Here's what we're going to do, everyone. Before I turn it over to Chairman Perkel for a prayer, we just want to let everyone know that in your inboxes right now, you have the current sub. Our apologies in terms of not getting it to you faster in terms of paper-based. We've asked Patrick to go get that for us, and we will get that. But one of the things I don't want to do is waste time. I know many of you have a hard stop at 3, so I want to be able to get as much information out. So what I want to do first is recognize Chairman Perkel, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bow with me, if you will. Dear Heavenly Father, you are so gracious and kind and loving to us. Lord, our hearts are heavy from the things of this week, and it reminds us of the fragility of life. Lord, help us to make every single moment count. I thank you for the members that are gathered here around this table, those that are listening. Lord, I pray that you will give us wisdom as we consider these important matters. In your name I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chairman Perkel. Representative Thomas, I'm going to give you the floor, and if you don't mind, what I'd like for you to do for the committee, we're all either looking at it on our phones right now, and for those of us who are, let's just say, a little bit impaired, we're going to be a little slow. So if you could, please go through the changes that have been made in the sub, and then obviously once Patrick gets back with paper copies, I think we can go through and then probably open it up to questions and comments in terms of the sub. But right now, what I'd like for you to do is go through the specific changes in the bill on the sub for 986. Okay, and then can you please, just for confirmation, confirm the LC number that you're working from so we know that we're looking at the same thing? No problem. Thank you.
Here we go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Absolutely. It's LC number 560095S is what you should have. And I'm going to look just to make sure I don't have anybody shaking their head there. It looks like we're good. So, per your request, Mr. Chairman, we'll just talk through some of the changes. There's some additions that weren't in here before, specifically the I didn't have my presentation set up quite like this, so you'll have to bear with me here. Lines 56 through 59. There is some concern, although this is the way the process typically set up. If there is any elections crime, that it would go to the Board of Elections. That offense would be then referred to. If it's a felony, then it would be referred to the the Attorney General's office or the respective DA. So what this does is make it very clear it goes to the Attorney General's office. That was one of the, again, that's how it normally flows, but we just wanted to clarify that. So I think the biggest part of this really starts at Section 5. And Chairman Jones, this was per your request. So I think if we start at Section 5, we created this totally new idea, which is the artificial intelligence seal of compliance. It is actually going to be handled by the Government Transparency and Campaign Finance Commission. And what it does is, the idea is, well, instead of just punishing those who are bad actors, is there a way that we can actually create a system that rewards people that want to do the right thing and wants to act accordingly, and give some form of credit to what the voters, what they watch on television and what they see in their advertisements. So we created this a seal to be used by any campaign, any PAC or political organization. And so lines, and I'm going to go real slow here. So lines 94 through 106 just again defines what a campaign advertisement is. Defines what a deep fake is. Then if you move to lines 108 through 125, it basically says that a candidate or a campaign committee can affix this seal to any campaign advertisement, but the campaign has to agree to the following. One is the name of the candidate or candidates or campaign committee or committees that created, sponsored, and paid for the campaign advertisement has to be disclosed. That generative AI was used to make part or all of the content of the campaign advertisement, and that the persons depicted may be impersonations and events depicted may not have actually occurred in reality. So it's a transparency requirement that allows you to use the seal. Additionally, the candidate has to sign the affidavit that says they will not do anything that does not bear the disclaimers required in paragraph 2, and then basically that it violates any code, meaning that it doesn't defame or use another candidate's likeness as prescribed in 21-2-605. Then lines 126 through 132 specifically says you cannot use the seal without signing the affidavit. If you do, then it's a criminal offense. And then finally, on lines 133 through 138, it prescribes what happens if someone does use the seal and it's in violation, and it allows the Campaign Transparency and Finance Commission to investigate and provide a report. That's kind of the seal part of it. And since we're, so maybe we can just open up to that part, because the rest, I think everybody should really maybe have paper in front of them for that. So would that be allowable by the chair?
Yeah, Representative Thomas, you did mention that you had something prepared that you wanted to talk about. Did you want to provide additional color before we open it up?
I mean, this is my walkthrough of the bill, so I'm fine with just having the bill in front of everybody, and we can just start from the beginning if you so choose.
Okay, I think right there we find Patrick's passing that around. The members should have it electronically, but I think right now what we're going to do then is open it up for the members to ask questions, correct?
Yeah, that'd be just fine.
Okay, so I don't want to wait as Patrick passes us around. Representative Oliver?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Line 56 grants exclusive jurisdiction to the Attorney General to conduct a criminal prosecution of the violation, and then it says shall only be initiated upon the Attorney General receiving a recommendation from the State Election Board. Now, I'm interpreting that, and you're going to tell me if I interpret it wrong. That implies to me that the Election Board does the investigation first and makes a recommendation, and then the Attorney General initiates the jurisdiction to conduct the criminal prosecution. Am I interpreting that correctly?
Yeah, you're interpreting that correctly.
I don't know the answer to this question at all. Are there any other crimes that the Attorney General has exclusive jurisdiction? Because I'm confused about why, as a matter of policy, any district attorney across the 51 district attorneys across Georgia wouldn't have an interest in prosecuting criminal acts of election AI. What's the two questions. Attorney General have exclusive jurisdiction to initiate prosecution of any other crime? And secondly, what's the policy consideration of not allowing any DA to prosecute this possible crime?
Thank you. As it currently works, as these come in, if it's a felony offense, it can be referred to the district attorney, or it can be referred to the Attorney General's office. Now, that's an option that's available to the Board of Elections.
Where does it say that?
Yeah, I don't have the code in front of me, so I can't tell you the specific line item. But that I've talked in detail with the Attorney General's office and with Legislative Counsel, and that's the way it's been explained to me.
So exclusive jurisdiction doesn't mean exclusive jurisdiction.
I don't. Is that you have to put that in form of a question? I don't understand what that means.
It doesn't. If understanding your interpretation, that means exclusive jurisdiction on line 56 doesn't mean exclusive jurisdiction. It says the Attorney General can assign it to somewhere else. But there is another code section, is what you're telling me, that I should reference.
Yeah, I'm telling you that I obviously met with legislative counsel, and I met with the Attorney General's office, and it was explained to me that the way the current system works, if it's a felony, that's what we're talking about here, that the State Board of Elections has the opportunity to either refer it to the Attorney General's office or the District Attorney's office. That was some confusion, so we clarified it to make sure it went to the Attorney General's office, because this is an election matter, and I think it should be handled through the Attorney General's office, and maybe that's a difference in a matter of opinion,
But
but
it's still, you're still initiating, the election board does the investigation.
That's
'cause they
correct.
can't make a recommendation unless they've done an investigation.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Chairman Williamson?
Yeah, just to the author of the bill, appreciate you bringing this measure, but just some clarification on the point of Representative Oliver. On line 57, the sentence that begins in line 57 says the criminal prosecution shall only be initiated upon the Attorney General receiving a recommendation from the State Election Board. Just kind of begs the question, would that preclude the Attorney General from deciding to investigate themselves to the regardless of what, if it'd been before the State Election Board? That wouldn't handcuff the Attorney General from performing his or her duties outside of a recommendation by the State Election Board, would it?
The way it's written, it would, yeah. And the reason why we wrote it that way is